First up today, parenting in an age of anxiety. Mental health issues affect a lot of teens and tweens, and many experts now agree it is almost epidemic among young people today.
Dr. John Duffy is a clinical psychologist, a best-selling author, and national media personality. His latest book is Parenting the New Teen in the Age of Anxiety, a complete guide to your child's stressed, depressed, expanding, amazing adolescence. Is it all that, Dr. John? Joins us now to decide why you decided to write this book and what we can do about teens that are driving everyone crazy.
Yeah, and they are driving everyone crazy, no doubt. Teens are more anxious, and it's like been a recent spike the last few years, and they are dealing with so many social academic pressures from social media, and it's really been unprecedented, so much so that I'm hearing from parents and getting more referrals now by a lot than I ever have before. It's a lot.
One of the things I want to ask you, because you mentioned this at a book signing that you had, was that you're for the first time ever concerned about America's teenagers, and part of it is because of all these calls you get daily, or sometimes many times a day.
Yes. So virtually every morning and throughout the course of the day, I've always gotten calls. When you work with teenagers, you're going to get calls from parents. You know, I'm concerned about my child, seems to have some anxiety. Now, 3 or 4 times a day, I will get a call, and it will be, you know, he or she won't get out of bed. They seem hopeless, desperate, totally anxious, not functioning, and parents aren't sure what to do. Do I go to the emergency room? Do I go to a psychologist? Do I press my child to do the thing that they're anxious about doing? It's really tricky for parents.
Why? Yeah. I mean, why? I just don't get why they're so stressed out. And this is a conversation I have with my mom, with friends, is because I think there's a miscommunication, because they think, well, we weren't like that as kids. We just dealt with it or whatever. And so it's easy to have that kind of like, well, it wasn't like that when I grew up mentality.
Definitely.
But it's so different now.
So different now. So if you distill it down, kids suffer academic and social pressure like they never have before. Social media plays this massive role in the self-worth and self-esteem of kids. And with just the internet, they've got access to so much information. So whereas a generation ago, kids were real egocentric, now they have this worldview. So they understand that there's a lot going on in the world, and they see their lives going forward. And they're wondering, will I make a contribution? Will my life be useful? And will I be able to make the same kind of living that my parents do? So they've got all these concerns at really, really young ages.
It's that fear of being small and not, you know, not having worth.
Absolutely, right. Yeah.
It's interesting, in the first part of your book, you sort of plead with parents to please make this my last book that I write about parenting. And you weren't planning to write, you wrote The Available Parent. You weren't planning to write another book. Why did you feel you needed to do this book?
I actually thought The Available Parent was a pretty solid, like, if you follow these guidelines, you will be fine. Yeah, one and done. I wanted to be done, I'll write a novel. You know? But in the end, really, you find that in the last couple of years, kids are so anxious, and the landscape is so different, and we parents do not understand it very well. And I find that, you know, kids feel very in the dark and more anxious the less their parents understand. So what I try to do in the book is inform them at least a little bit. Here's what's going on in the lives of your kids. Here's a way to look at it going forward, because things are going to keep changing. You know, there's more data coming at them. There's tougher video games. There's more vaping and juuling, and there's more challenges coming parents' ways and kids' ways.
So what is your most urgent message for parents? Is it simply to validate and listen, or what is it?
Yes, it is listening, but it's listening at a deeper level than you had before, because oftentimes what kids feel about themselves today is pretty dark. You know, so you have to be prepared. It does, right? It's fleeting, it's not constant, but a lot of kids feel like they don't carry a lot of worth, and they don't care if they wake up tomorrow. I hear that frequently. Like it's kind of a passive suicidal, you know, element to their lives. So listening is really crucial, and showing your kids unconditional positive regard, that you're like, you know, I am on your side. On the worst day, you and I are good. And a lot of kids tell me they don't get that from friends, they don't get that from themselves, they don't get that from coaches or teachers. They need it from mom and dad.
Here's the thing that I think parents listening, especially if you have currently a teenager under your roof, they're going to say, because I feel like this sometimes more with my son now who's 17, but it's like, I'm willing to listen. I'll make the time, put down my phone, stop whatever I'm doing. But a lot of times they're not interested in engaging. And you know, as a parent, that connection is so key.
Yeah.
But there are people out there going, I try. Every day I'm trying open-ended questions and asking about their day, but they don't want to talk.
I've been giving talks lately, and a lot of parents will say, I tried your thing, it doesn't work. Nice try. There's two important elements. One is to make yourself available. And if you're available, your kid may not take you up on it or may not take you up on it now, but at least they know somebody's on my side and I have this ally. The other is to sit down and draw them out and let them know, hey, I know this is an anxious time. I get it. I don't judge you for it. And I really do want you to talk to me about it. You know, that's crucial, you know, because kids sometimes think, I'm going to be judged. I'm going to be judged by my parents because they don't feel like I'm doing enough. They don't feel like I have enough grit and resilience to make it in the world. So I need them to know that they're on my side. They're on my team here.
How important is it to meet them where they're at? You know, like to play a video game with them or to text them instead of face to face. Or my mom always used to say we had our best conversations riding in the car because I didn't have to look directly at her, so there was nothing too vulnerable about it.
Yeah.
Well, just real quick, I said to my son, teach me Call of Duty. He's like, no, you're not. When she said play a video game with your kid, I'm thinking, oh my gosh.
You're like, never, he won't let you because you're not gonna. Well,
Right.
that'll ruin his score, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, I'm going to go down
he
a
might
level
find a
because of your
different
mom.
one.
Thanks.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But really, 90% of the time we spend with our kids should be like getting to know their world, playing the video game, even if they don't want you to, listening to the music.
So maybe a different game.
Probably a different game.
Listening to the music. Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, and listening to the music and asking, like, why do you like this? I can't stand this. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's okay to express your point of view and engage in a debate, but enter their world a little bit. And if that's 90% of the time you spend with your kids, then the 10%, you have some leverage. Your parenting is going to be way more effective. And also in that 90%, celebrate the parts of your kids that don't get celebrated elsewhere. Like if he or she is like really sarcastic or funny or can do graffiti or can rap, and that's not going to show up on the ACT, celebrate that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's good advice
Yeah.
because we tend to be judgy of those things
Yes.
that maybe we don't care for, and you got to like back off of that, which is
Exactly.
tough. It's a phenomenal book. Here's where you can find it: drjohnduffy.com. Also available on Amazon and lots of other places. It is Parenting the New Teen in the Age of Anxiety, a complete guide, one and done now, to your child's stressed, depressed, expanding, amazing adolescence. It's a wonderful book.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.